All right, so you ready to go deep on the resurgence of Garage House?
Yeah.
Let's do it. We're going to dig into why this sound is making such a huge comeback.
Well, it's really interesting to see how something that started in those underground clubs in New York is now, like, all over the world. It's a story of how music changes and gets reinvented, and it all goes back to this one legendary club, Paradise Garage.
Paradise Garage. Okay, so what was it about that place that made it, like, the birthplace of a whole movement?
I mean, the music was a big part of it. DJ Larry Levan, who was the DJ there, his sets were incredible, like totally unique. He would blend all these different genres together, like disco and soul, even some early electronic stuff. You know, it created this sound that was both familiar and new at the same time. But Paradise Garage, it was more than just the music. You know, it was like a sanctuary, a place where anyone could come and be themselves.
Wow, that's amazing. I can practically feel the energy just from you describing it. So what was it about Larry Levan's style that made him such a legend?
He was a masterly. He could read the crowd, you know, and create a real journey with sound. He wasn't just playing tracks, he was creating an experience. He'd mix genres you wouldn't expect, build up the tension, then bam, release it. Take everyone on this emotional ride. But it wasn't just technical skill, it was about creating a vibe, you know, a feeling of like everyone being connected on the dance floor.
So it was more than just a DJ set. It was like a performance, like an art form.
Exactly. And that energy, that mix of soulful music and that inclusive atmosphere, that's what became the foundation of what we know as Garage House. But the story doesn't stop there. The sound went across the Atlantic, and that's where things got really interesting.
In UK, right? They took Garage House and totally made it their own.
Oh, yeah. Like, the UK scene in the late 80s, early 90s, they were ready for something new, and they found it in the soulfulness of Garage House. But they didn't just copy it, they added their own flavor. You know, stuff like break beats and jungle rhythms, they brought that energy to it.
Syncopation, like those offbeat rhythms. UK garage producers were so good at weaving those into the music. They created this sound that was energetic and sophisticated all at the same time.
Absolutely. And those breakbeat patterns, you know, with all that rhythmic tension and release, they became like a signature of UK garage.
You know, it's crazy. I can hear those UK garage influences in some of the pop music that's out today. It's pretty wild to see how those early innovations are still shaping music.
Sure. It really shows how important that era was. The UK garage scene, it wasn't just about creating a new subgenre, it was about a whole new approach to rhythm and groove. And producers today, they're still drawing inspiration from that. And, you know, while we're talking about influences, it's pretty amazing to see how this Garage House revival is mixing those classic sounds with new technology. I mean, we're talking about AI coming into the picture, not just as like a tool, but as like a creative force.
AI making music. Okay, I gotta admit, that's both kind of cool and kind of freaks me out a little. So how is this actually happening in the Garage House world?
So picture this, right? You feed an AI system tons of classic Garage House tracks. Everything from like those soulful Paradise Garage anthems to those gritty UK garage bass lines, right? The AI, it analyzes all of it. It picks apart the rhythms, the melodies, the harmonies, even those little subtle production tricks. Then, get this, it can use all that to come up with new musical ideas.
So it's not just like copying or remixing old tracks, it's actually making something new based on what it's learned.
You got it. It's like having like a digital student who just absorbed everything about Garage House, and now it can jam on those elements in like totally unexpected ways. Like, let's say the AI could make a whole new bass line. It'll have that swing and bounce of UK Garage, but it'll add this layer of complexity that would be really hard for a human producer to do.
Wow, that's wild. So it sounds like AI could like take the genre further than we've ever heard before, like bringing in sounds and textures that we haven't even imagined yet.
It's a total game changer, for sure. And what's even cooler is that artists are actually starting to team up with these AI systems, like using them as partners to explore new sonic territory.
That reminds me of how Gen Z, you know, they've grown up with tech their whole lives, and they're totally embracing Garage House, bringing their own digital skills to the scene. Seems like a perfect match.
It totally is. Gen Z, they're not afraid to experiment with tech and mixed genres. Like, they're taking the heart of Garage House, that energy, that soulfulness, and they're blending it with hip-hop, R&B, even K-pop and video game music. It's this global fusion that's changing what Garage House can be.
It's like they're creating this sonic tapestry that reflects how diverse and connected their generation is. And they're doing it with like this playfulness, but also with a deep respect for the roots of the genre.
Yeah. It's that back and forth between nostalgia and innovation. You know, it's exciting to see. Gen Z is sampling those classic Garage House tracks, making them their own, and bringing those iconic sounds to a whole new generation of listeners.
It's like they're keeping the spirit of Garage House alive, but at the same time pushing it into the future.
And speaking of the future, we can't ignore the elephant in the room, or I guess I should say the virtual dance floor in the metaverse.
Right.
It's pretty clear that virtual reality is going to change how we experience music in Garage House with its focus on community and shared experience. I think it's like made for this immersive new world.
I've been hearing more and more about these virtual concerts and festivals, but I just can't quite picture what a Garage House event in the metaverse would actually be like. Help me out here.
Okay, so imagine this. You put on your VR headset and you step into this like pulsing virtual club. You see the DJ, their avatar spinning cracks, interacting with the crowd. You can dance with other avatars from all over the world, feel the energy of the music, that collective vibe.
So it's not just like watching a performance on a screen. It's like being there in the club, right?
Exactly. And it goes beyond just attending virtual events. Imagine artists creating these interactive musical experiences in these virtual spaces. You could step inside a Garage House track, explore the soundscapes, interact with the music in ways that you just can't do in the real world.
Whoa, that's taking it to a whole other level. It's like virtual reality is giving artists a whole new canvas to create their sonic masterpieces. It really is amazing to think about all the creative potential, you know? Especially for a genre like Garage House that's always been about pushing boundaries. But even beyond, like, the tech stuff, what's really hit me is the impact this music has had on culture.
Yeah.
It's so much more than just beats, you know? It's a movement that's given communities a voice and helped people find their identity.
Yeah, that's what makes Garage House so powerful, right? It's always been tied to these social and cultural movements, giving people a way to express themselves and challenge things.
We talked about Paradise Garage and how inclusive it was, but I'd love to dig a little deeper into that, like how that spirit of inclusivity has connected with certain communities. I know Garage House has this deep connection to the LGBTQ+ community, for example.
Totally. Right from the start, Garage House gave the LGBTQ+ community this safe space to come together, to celebrate who they are, to find comfort in the music. A lot of the early DJs and producers were part of the community, and their music had often reflected their own experiences, their struggles.
So it wasn't just about creating a party, right? It was about building a community, a sense of belonging.
You got it. The music, it became this powerful way to express yourself, to connect with people who understood you, to challenge, societal norms through the music, the rhythm, the melody.
It's pretty amazing how music can be this force for change, right? To bring people together, to create understanding. And that connection between Garage House and the LGBTQ+ community, it's still strong today, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. You see modern Garage House artists talking about identity, acceptance, resilience, all of that in their music. They're using their platform to lift up LGBTQ+ voices, to fight for equality. It shows that the spirit of Paradise Garage is still alive and kicking.
It's really inspiring to see how something that started underground has had this huge impact on culture and society. And it's not just the LGBTQ+ community either. Garage House has been a big part of Black culture too, in both the US and the UK.
Absolutely. Right from its roots, Garage House is woven into Black musical traditions. It came from disco, soul, funk genres that were born out of the experiences and creativity of Black communities. And as it spread around the world, it kept being shaped and redefined by Black artists. They brought their own unique perspective, their cultural influences to the music.
So it's a genre that's always changing, reflecting the diversity and energy of Black culture.
Exactly. Garage House has become this platform for Black artists to celebrate where they come from, share their stories, and connect with people all over the world. It really shows how music can cross borders and bring cultures together.
This deep dive has been incredible. I mean, we've explored the history, the sound, the technology, and the cultural impact of Garage House. It's so clear that it's way more than just a bunch of catchy beats. It's this living, breathing movement, always changing, always being shaped by the communities that embrace it.
It's a sound that's grounded in the past, but looking ahead, Always evolving, reinventing itself, but staying true to those core values like inclusivity, creativity, and that love of the groove.
And for you listening, I hope this has made you curious to go explore the world of Garage House even more. I mean, there are tons of subgenres, artists, producers out there, all with their own unique take on this dynamic and ever-evolving genre. So put on your headphones, find a playlist that speaks to you, and let the rhythm move you. You might just find your new favorite sound. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.